So wonderful. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to meet you again on this afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. It's Marcus time. And today we are going to talk about this special topic. How will the market react to the US election in 2020, around 4 weeks from now, including these following topics? Who will win this election, Mr. Trump or Mr. Biden? And then we talk a little bit about the taxes and the market reaction, because they have different plans how they will handle and manage the taxes in the USA. And maybe we should talk about the Trump victory, or is it a contested election? Let's see. And of course, last topic for this afternoon, it's the China negotiations. And because Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden will manage this in different ways. It's a little bit political topic this afternoon, because it's a really important topic, because this will have an impact to the market. Please make sure that you stay until the end of this webinar or the video, if you watch it on YouTube later, when I'll be showing you why you should stay away from trading during this election day, or this day before or afterwards. My name is Markus Gabel. I'm a trader, coach, mentor, speaker. I have 20 years experience right now. I have my own company, and I'm a trader at the asset management bond stock and a partner, but I'm also trading coach, mentor, international speaker, because I have a mission. I want to give people opportunity and possibility to become successful with trading. In this webinar series, Trading Spotlight, I am partnering with Admiral Markets, which is a Forex and CFD broker that offers trading on over 8,000 different financial instruments through one of the world's best trading platforms, MetaTrader 5. And finally, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like this video, share it with other traders, and subscribe so you will never miss an episode. Yes. Maybe you have your own opinion about the this future election. Maybe you can type it in the chat box if you want. What do you think? Who will win this election, Mr. Trump or Mr. Biden? It's just only for around about 4 weeks from now that the USA has to go to the votes and give their voices, whatever they will decide. If you have a look at a view at the USA right now, it's a completely almost destroyed country, because there are two parts and they are really they're fighting to each other, and you can see it in the market. It's completely, how should I say, very confusing. And now Mr. Trump plays the card of the coronavirus, and he's seemingly healthy again, but not really. As you can see, if you can see the news, one and more people in the White House are infected by coronavirus. And Mr. Trump is not really healthy, and he's still sick with corona, and he's able to spread the virus to the whole White House. So you can see it, but we will see. And maybe it's a question of morality of Mr. Trump, but this is not my part to judge someone. It's just only what I can read in the news and what I can see with my own eyes. So voters in America have to decide on the 3rd of November whether Donald Trump will remain in White House for another 4 years. In God's sake, I don't hope so. And the Republican president is being challenged by the Democratic Party nominee, Mr. Joe Biden, who is best known as Barack Obama's vice president, but has been in US politics since the 1970s. That's my birthday year, the 1970s. And since then, Mr. Biden is involved in the US politics. And as you can see, both guys, do you know how old they are? Mr. Trump is 74 and Mr. Biden is 78. Jesus Christ. If I compare with Germany, if you're 78 years over here in Germany, you are in retirement, but never engaged in any kind of job. You stay at home and you enjoy the rest of your life. So maybe Mr. Biden will win this election and he will be the president for 8 years. Then maybe he is, Jesus Christ, 96, now 86 years old when the 8 years are over. Okay, maybe I'm not sure if he will survive this 8 years as such an old or major guy. So the question I always ask for myself, is that everything that the USA has? Is that really everything? Doesn't they have kind of younger guys over there? But then if you think it through, it's a question of money. If you want to become president, or if you will run for a president, you need a lot of money because you must be really rich if you want to become, and if you have a run for the president. And this is the problem. Not really a lot of guys, young guys, have this kind of money like Mr. Trump or Mr. Biden or other kind of older guys over there. So Mr. Barack Obama was, I guess he was an interesting election, and his presidential time was really interesting too, but he was a black guy. And it was the first time for USA, and I guess it was an experiment. But we will see what will happen. And but that's two guys are really old, and I'm not really sure if they have the power for the next 4 or 8 years. So an election day approaches, polling companies will be trying to gauge the mood of the nation by asking voters which candidate they prefer. And this is really interesting. So, because national polls are a good guide to how popular candidates is across the country as completely whole, but they are not necessarily a good way to predict the result of the election. So we have the comparison to Hillary Clinton for a couple of years ago in 2016. So she led in the polls and won nearly 3 million more votes than Mr. Donald Trump, but she still lost. Why? Now, it's because the US uses an electoral college system. So winning the most votes doesn't always win you the election, because they have a special system over there, and not the country basically will vote for the president. It's the speakers in every single country. They have to decide, and they have to give the vote for Mr. Trump or Mr. Biden. And with these votes of the speaker and special guys in the government, in a regional government like California, Minnesota, something else, with the votes of these guys, Mr. Trump won the election. But the whole country were voted for Miss Hillary Clinton. And this is a really interesting situation over there. So the country could vote whatever they want. At the end, the speakers and the special governments of the regional governments will make the decision who will the presidency. So, and with this caveat aside, Joe Biden has been ahead of Donald Trump in most national polls since the start of the year. Almost, he is hovered around 50% in recent months and has had a 10-point lead at occasions. The last news today was the same. He rise up almost more than 50%. And more than 10 points right now. It's really interesting what will happen over there. So, Russell, there is no way Biden to win because Trump is businessman. America is about many people will go for Trump. He's just good at bringing economy up. This is true. Also, he's stopping China from doing a lot of bad stuff, which is nobody did it. That is an interesting point. Yes. And this is what is so controversial. in USA and in around the world too. Mr. Donald Trump is not a typical political man. He's a businessman, and he used to lead the whole country like a businessman. And this is why he decided, in our view, sometimes really confusing. Okay, I guess he's a special guy as well. But basically, the decisions he made in the past and he make currently and he will make in the future is based on kind of business thinking and not on how should I say, political system. So you can see it with the guys he will throw out from the White House, hire and fire. So he's the same like in a business. If you don't like your attendees, or if you don't like your employees, then you kick it out. So this is like a businessman who leads his own business, but it's not a political guy. And this is the big difference the whole world couldn't understand. So Mr. Biden have now first chance, but I believe in the final Trump will win the election. To be honest, I guess he will win again. He is so, how should I say, he reached a lot of guys over there. And the Americans are really, how should I say, Americans are really, I missed the right word, not easy, a little bit naive in that way. So that's the point why Mr. Trump can reach those guys. And less of the Americans think it through the end. And this is what happened over there. But they have really big problems. So they have coronavirus problems, Black Lives Matters over there. I guess it's really hard at the moment. And this two questions like coronavirus and Black Lives Matters decided the whole nation. And Mr. Trump is not that guy who will care for a kind of unity of the whole nation. He is the guy who divide the whole nation by his popular topics and the kind of he's handled this whole situation. But they have their own problems, I guess. So beware of conventional wisdom that says Wall Street favors business-friendly Republicans at the helm. And what will happen with the taxes if both Mr. Biden or Mr. Trump will win the election? I can say this is for Trump not about money, it's about power want to take from a Democrat. Yes, maybe. I guess Mr. Trump, and you can read it in a couple of news. His daughter, which was the name, Trump. I've forgotten her name. But you know, his daughter, she's very political as well. And they want to build a political business and a kind of dynasty. Ivanka Trump, yes, thanks. Thanks, Katie, my lovely host beyond the scenes today. Ivanka Trump, yes, and she is very smart. She's soft, she's smart, she can handle the situation, and she's not always on the same page like her dad. But both of them, they want to build up a Washington dynasty over there. And because I guess she could be the next female or the first female president, or maybe Mrs. Obama. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting over there. But there will be a time in the future they will have a female president over there. Since 2000, but we have to talk about how the market will react on the outcome of this kind of election. Since 1928, annualized total returns for the S&P 500 have an average 30.3% under Democrats compared with 7.7% under Republicans, according to a special research company. And for a hint about who will win the election, we should keep a close eye to the market indices. So if they are up in the 3 months preceding the election, the incumbent wins 87% of the time, which will mean Mr. Donald Trump will remain in White House for another 4 years. Whoever will win will fill top positions at the Securities and Exchange Commissions and the Federal Reserve, important decisions for financial markets. For example, as for the candidates' policies, both parties' platforms remain sketchy on details in parts. And a win by either side could mean different things for different portions of the market. And this is very interesting about the taxes. So, for example, in 2017, Mr. Trump and his Republican-controlled Congress, of course, cut corporate tax rates from 35% down to 21%, sparing profits. If he wins a second time, Mr. Trump, then corporate tax will stay the same, and S&P 500 earnings could jump 30% in 2021 from 2020, say an analyst from Credit Suisse, for example. Mr. Biden would seek to raise the corporate tax rate to 28, which could reduce earnings per share in S&P 500 companies by 8% to 12 in 2021, according from another Nathan Trust. And any tax increase, and that's the problem, or that's a challenge over there, any tax increase is a negative for the markets, but it's a part of a very, very complicated ecosystem. So it's not really spoken that a tax increase will have a bad impact to the market. I guess we have to wait. And at the end of this webinar, I will show you and I will tell you how you can handle this very difficult situation in the next 4 weeks. Mr. Biden might spur growth in certain sectors by spending the extra tax dollars on climate, healthcare, and infrastructure initiatives, among others, which could offset the one-time hit of a higher corporate tax rate. And as we know, Mr. Trump is not interested on climate or healthcare. He's just only focused on that everybody has a job. And he doesn't care about the climate, of course. He's a businessman. And if you will see a Democratic administration, they would be more robust in fiscal stimulus spending to support the economy. I don't know if you reached the news, if you read the news this last night, and the market dropped sharply down last week because Mr. Trump stopped actually the current stimulus talks for a second stimulus bill for the economy. He stopped it. The market dropped sharply down. So as you can see, Mr. Trump does what he wants to do. And Mr. Biden is a little bit more soft, and I guess he will handle the situation completely different. And then we have more confusion over there in USA. So even so, the impact of any tax hike would vary across sectors and even within, within those companies. The biggest winners in the past of Trump's tax cut in 2017 were financials, consumer-orientated stocks, and shares of communication service firms, which surged as earnings expectations rose, stand to get dinged if tax rates rise. At the other end, utilities and real estate firms benefited less from Mr. Trump's cuts, which bodes well for these sectors, should Biden get this increase to 28%. So you can see we have different ways how the market can react. At the end, maybe it will a kind of balance in the market. So the otherwise have a disadvantage, the one firms have disadvantage and the other has a big benefit. Which one will win the election? Mr. Biden, for example, has other tax changes on his wish list that could disproportionately hit information technology and healthcare stocks. We have those changes, including a doubling of tax rates from 10.5% to 21% that multinational companies pay on earnings from intellectual property held or used by foreign subsidiaries. In summarize, we can say altogether Biden's tax proposals could weigh heavily on the stock market, given their hit to corporate profits. But Mr. Biden may have to wait on tax hikes. It's not a good idea to make it immediately after the election. He says, with a soft economy, a big initiative on higher taxes is not how I anticipate things starting off. I guess he can handle this a little bit better. But don't forget, Mr. Biden is not a businessman. He's a political guy. And they handle things completely softer and different like Mr. Trump, because he's a complete businessman. Will it be a contested election, or is it a clear strategy? Is it a clear system? Is it a clear outcome that Mr. Trump will win this election? Or maybe we'll see a big fight. What do you think? What do you think? Will it be a clear outcome, or what do you think? It's a kind of contested election. There are different researchers, and there is a Bloomberg-founded research data firm. I guess it will be a contested election, but at the end, that's true. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I guess, and I have really big fears about that, because I can see there will be a really big fight over there. And I read something in the news last week or the week before. But let's see the slide first. A research by a Bloomberg-founded data firm predicts an apparent landslide win for Mr. Donald Trump on the special election night on the 3rd of November, followed by a swing to Joe Biden as mail votes are counted over several days, almost guaranteeing a contested result. Data and analytics firm Hawkish, for example, told the Axios news site that President Donald Trump will likely enjoy what appears to be a landslide victory on November the 3rd. But the same firm, it's called Hawkish, a firm founded by Democrat billionaire Michael Bloomberg, claimed that Trump could hold a lead of 408 against 130 electoral votes in this special election night. But then it's not over. In the days after, a steady trickle of mail-in ballots would swing the vote back in Biden's favor and could see the Democrats will win 333 against 204 votes, according to one modeling prediction. You see, it's really, this kind of prediction is really interesting. But a victory for Biden, this scenario would take nearly 1 week, with 50% of mail-in ballots counted every day. And you know they have a coronavirus over there in 4 weeks, still in 4 weeks. and a lot of people will use the mail vote. Central to hawkish prediction is the assumption that Democrats are more likely than Republicans to vote by mail on account of the fears of coronavirus. And the election is essentially over when one side concedes. But I fear Mr. Trump will never concede. Never. Yes, the elections are the right side of the chart. Plummer, he was in my coaching. He knows what he's talking about. And nobody knows. But I guess we are ahead of really heavy times. And this election will give us hard times about trading and in the market. So hawkish report aims to sound an alarm over the possibility of Trump claiming an early victory. And Axios says that the company is trying to highlight the possibility of Trump's team challenging mail-in bailouts and applying political pressure on local officials to reject them. And this is so many unknown things that will have an influence to the market and to the special election, except the influence of foreigner states like maybe the Russians again will have an influence to this election, or maybe the Iran, whatever, I don't know. Mr. Trump will figure out a lot of excuses in the case he will lose this election. But I don't know. I really don't know. As a trader, we should stay on the sideline and watch all these things. At the end, we should talk about a little bit the China negotiations and the US election. So everyone wants to level the playing field with China, safeguarding the intellectual property of US companies and boosting competition between nations on manufacturing and trade. Since the Cold War between US and Russia, we never had such bad negotiations between two nations. There was always a kind of friendly negotiations in the presidencies before. Since Mr. Trump, we have almost 4 years right now, this really bad fight between these two nations. And Chinese people are very proud people. And Mr. Trump is also a really strong and proud guy. Trump has taken an US against them approach, levying tariffs, but Biden would likely use the diplomatic and political pressure to take on China by forming a united front with Europe and Japan. And Mr. Trump would do it by alone. And I guess all of us, we know how Mr. Trump is thinking about Europe and our politicians over there. So I guess he hates Europe as well. I think he hates everybody. But the sun is circling around of Mr. Trump. We know that. But if you think it a little bit through, there must be a reason why all this happens in our lifetime. But we will see the outcome and the affection. We will see this in a couple of years from now. Then we can have a look back on 2020 and 2021, and then we can see what really happens. Because you see, we have coronavirus, we have Black Lives Matters, we have big economy troubles. India reported over the last weekend 70,000 new corona cases. It's absolutely terrible. Absolutely. The numbers, even in Germany, rise, even in Germany, more and more. And people are going to be crazy. They are really crazy. They don't know what to do. The problem with the coronavirus actually is that nobody knows how deep is the impact to every single person. So someone has very soft symptoms, other ones a little bit more fever or headache or something else, and other guys have to go to the hospital and they are really sick. So this is the problem. If the virus were really difficult and really dangerous, and it will be a kind of um, deadly, this kind of virus, people stay at home all the time. But now you can go out, you can wear your mask, and I don't know, maybe I'm sick or not. I have soft symptoms. So like Miss the First Lady, she has really soft, so maybe almost no symptoms. Mr. Trump were in the hospital. He gets uh, some some meds and something else, big cocktail of different meds. And I guess this is the problem about coronavirus. But the whole mankind around the world is infected by this coronavirus. And we cannot see the big impact to the real economy right now. I guess we will see it in the next years. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I read in a newspaper here in my country that almost 1 million, really 1 million of companies are almost bankruptcy. 1 million in Germany, just only in Germany. And we are not over with this coronavirus thing. We are not over. We are among of this, and now we expect a second wave, or maybe we are completely within the second wave of the coronavirus. And now the flu comes too, and now the autumn time and the winter time. And as if you don't have more problems, we have this China negotiations as too. But in this case, we could hope that Mr. Biden will win the next election, that we can get a little bit less problems on the economy side around the world. This is my hope. If Mr. Trump will win the next election, we will have more problems in the next 4 years. But maybe it should be that way. There must be a special cause. There must be a special reason why all these things happens. And if you think a little bit it through, then everything you plant, every seeds will ribbons up, every single seed. And if you plant selfish, you will get it back more than that. Cause and reaction. And I guess the coronavirus is a kind of reaction of all that bad, selfish, stupid things the whole mankind did in the last years. This is the result. And I guess universe will hit and will strike back at the moment. But you should think about that a little bit. And then you will realize how should I say, treat the people around you. We should be more friendly and nicely to each other. No matter the approach, the Cold War is here to stay. An insider says China wants to dominate global technology and the USA doesn't want that too. But there is not really an answer to that big dilemma. So we need more soft politicians over there, more soft. And the problem is why we have all these problems around the world. There's just only one reason for that. People have forgotten to be friendly to each other. So where is the sense? People killed each other. Policemen shot to black dads and moms. Why? Why we should fight to each other? Where is the sense of all of that? People must die about of that bullshit around the world. Where is the sense of all of that? Why are we talking about that? Thousands of kids starving over in Africa, for example. Why are we talking about that? People lose their life in the medium sea or maybe on the water. They fight about their own life. And we talk about all this stuff. Why? Why is this happening right now around the mankind? This is my personal opinion. It's the result of the bad behavior and the bad habits of all people around the world. We have forgotten to be friendly to each other. Is it so hard? Is it simply so hard to be friendly to each other? Why is it so hard? Yeah, people used to be selfish all the time. They're looking on money. So this is the point why we have to trade, why we want to trade. We want to make money, of course. So we are focused on red and green candles. We are only focused on ourselves. We have forgotten that we have lovely people around of us. But we have forgotten to be friendly to each other. And this is the problem with what we have around the world. You can have a look wherever you are, in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East, or in the Near East, about the Israel and the Lebanon, for example. That's humans. And they're fighting to each other. Why? Because they have different religions or different skin colors. All of that, guys, all of us, we are humans. We are equal. There is no difference between us, guys. Doesn't matter where you're placed right now. If you are in UK, if you are in Europe, if you are in Africa, if you're wherever you are, all of us, we are mans, we are humans. All of us, we are equal. No one on this planet is better than another guy. No one. We have the same blood. We have the same mind. And we have the same end. All of us. Doesn't matter wherever you live around the world. All of us, even Mr. Trump and even Mr. Biden, all of us, we have the same ends. We have to die. No one left this planet alive. No one. And no one will leave this planet alive. So why should we fight to each other? Why? The answer is really clear. It's fear. We have fear about the unknown things. If you see a different guy which has not the same skin color like you, people feel fear. Oh, I don't know. Oh my God, that's completely different. Why? All of us, we are equal. All of us, we are humans. We are not animals. We are humans. We are living beings on this planet. And all of us, we have the same rights. We should have the same opportunities. And we should think about that. And maybe this is the sense of what we can learn about the big trouble in USA. Mr. Trump is one of the guys who divide the whole nation. He's not able to bring people together. But guys, we are traders. We should do it in a different way. And my personal advice for the next 4 years, 4 weeks, or especially this day, the election day. Never forget, based on the fact that the market doesn't know you, which implicates that you cannot influence the market, it's the most important to stick to the rules, even or especially in such difficult times. My personal advice for this election day and the night: stay away from trading. At the best, close your positions, or at least make sure that your open positions are protected by stops. At the best, if you have the chance, close your positions, close your PC, and let this day go over. And then come back, watch the charts, stick to your rules. As you know, there will come a lot of news over there. The country and the nations are going to be crazy at this time, and the market as well. Maybe, probably, I don't know. We're on the right side of the chart. Nobody knows what will happen. But it's the good thing. Don't try to predict what happens. You cannot influence the market. That's so important, guys. Stay calm. Stay on the sideline. Watch it. Observe it. And then if your rules come over, or you can see your rules, then you can make a trade. But let this election day and night go over, and then you can think about new trades. So let's make a short conclusion. You can see it here as election day approaches. Polling companies will be trying to gauge the mood of the nations by asking voters which candidate they prefer. Actually, it's Mr. Biden in front of around about 50%. And if they're up in the 3 months preceding the election, the incumbent wins 87% of the time. That means Mr. Trump will remain in White House. So whoever wins will fill top positions at the securities and like the Federal Reserve, and they have to make really important decisions about the financial markets. My personal advice: stay away from trading. Make sure that your open positions are protected by stops. And let me tell you this again. Open your mind. Don't focus on trading alone. Open your mind and have a look at the whole planet. We have huge problems. Thousands and thousands of people died the last weeks about coronavirus. And there is a special guy, Mr. Donald Trump, he is talking, coronavirus is not as difficult as the flu. Millions of people were dying in the future. My advice is, be friendly, be nicely to all the living beings around you. This is a kind of karmic thinking. Whatever you will do, it will come back to you. If you want to become successful in trading, help another one to become successful in those plans. This is how you should think. And please be friendly to everybody around you. I promise you, this is a guarantee. It will come back to you. And everybody wants to have a friendly and a nicely life, right? Everybody wants to have a wonderful life. All of us want to become successful and healthy with inner freedom. But if you want to have such a life, you have to be friendly to all the people Don't judge people because they look different. Don't judge people because they have a different opinion. Everything comes from you. Everything is a kind of perception of every single being. There is no reason and there is no right to judge another person. You don't want to that another one will judge you. Why should you judge another person? And this is my special message for today, to solve all problems around the world. And with our Trading Spotlight community, we can make the first step. We are traders. We used to stick rules. We used to accept the inevitable things. We are the big leaders in trading. We know how trading works, really works. And we figured out already that 10% of trading success is strategy, but 90% is the human part. And the biggest human part is being friendly, ladies and gentlemen. I want to invite you after the webinar to our wonderful Trading Spotlight family. Paul, Jens, and myself, we help you to become successful in every single way you want to become successful. Trader's Yard is your special browser line, and group number 312. The only requirement: open a real account at Admiral Markets, put some deposit on it, and then my wonderful host will give you the access to this wonderful Trading Spotlight community. Friday, Miss, my congenius partner, Jens Klatt, will talk to you how you trade ETFs against stocks. Which should you invest? What are stocks, ETFs? And he gives you a comparison about this. On Friday, October the 9th, same time, same spot. I want to say thank you to Admiral Markets, to my lovely host, Beyond the Scenes, KD. Thank you for that. And if you're going to be contact us, you see here the lines on mail, on YouTube, or Facebook. And I only have to say thank you. I appreciate it a lot that you give me your lifetime, around 15 minutes right now, that you share your lifetime with me, I hope you listen to me. And I hope I could give you a little bit piece of advice. But my most important mission and my purpose of existence on this planet is to help you to become successful with trading and in life. I want to make you happy. And you can reach this happiness if you are friendly to all the people around you. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye bye.